Hi, I'm Gary.
And I'm Adam with Brightengale. And today we're talking about home versus business conferencing solutions. So I'm gonna hop right in. The most basic thing you can do is a laptop, right? It's got your camera, it's got your speakers, and it's got your screen all built into one. And then how do we make that maybe just a little bit better? One of my favorites is I like to pair it with a pair of Bluetooth earbuds. This makes it easier for me to hear and be heard on those conferencing. Here's another option. This is a pretty cost-effective set just off Amazon. One thing to be aware of is you don't want to go too cheap, because if you go too cheap, it'll actually sound worse than the stuff that's already in here. MacBooks don't really have the best webcams on them, so you can usually get a pretty affordable upgraded webcam. This one is actually probably a little bit overkill for home use. This is the Hubby IQ. This is a great camera. It's 4K and it has auto tracking. This is really designed for maybe like a huddle space. We've got a few people, but hey, we've got it here and I work here, so I use one at home. Another option that you might want to use is add a little bit of lighting. Once again, this is just a really cost-effective light from Amazon. A neat thing about this one is you can actually make it warmer or cooler. So say you've got a window in your home office or wherever you're using it, you may want to use the cooler light setting so it kind of matches that better. Or if you've got just, not too many windows, it's mostly just maybe your overhead light or a lamp, you maybe want to make it a little warmer. With all these cameras, if you can make the light more even in the room, they're going to look a lot better. Moving next, which is more where these two products go, this would be kind of, an upgraded home office or maybe a huddle space. So both of these cameras also have microphone arrays in them. And what that does is it allows them to have a little bit better pickup pattern, reach a little bit further into the room with those microphones rather than what's maybe built into your laptop. From there, we really start getting into the actual true professional stuff. This is going to be for conference rooms that maybe are seating how many people, Gary?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, 10, 15, 20 even. Maybe even more than that. I've put these big Sennheiser Team Connects in some pretty big rooms and getting really even coverage. This is the cool stuff over here, right? We've got the
Hey, this stuff's cool too.
No way. Okay. That was aggressive. That stuff is cool too, buddy.
Hey, thanks, man.
Back to the really cool stuff. So we've got stuff like the PTZ Optics camera. And then this is cool, right? You can control it to zoom in, zoom out, like back and forth, up, down, like really get framed what you want to have framed in the conference room. Of course, conference rooms, you're going to have speakers if you're going to need to have the sound cover evenly across a bunch of people. That way you can hear the remote participants more clearly. So, ceiling speakers are a pretty common thing in these big conference room spaces like this. And this is a Sennheiser Team Connect. It is a beamforming array microphone. This thing is super cool.
Gary, I don't know what's a beamformer. That's ridiculous.
You know what a beamformer is.
I do. I know. I'm just helping out for those people at home that maybe haven't heard of it yet.
Yeah. So this thing does not sit on the table like this. It is actually mounted up in the ceiling or just below the ceiling, and it is very cool. It's got basically a little computer brain in it, and it can hear the people that are talking, and it actually makes the microphones point at that person and pick them up. And then if somebody else starts talking, it'll actually move where the microphone is. It's not actually moving a physical microphone. It's got a bunch of different microphones in it, and it's basically using crazy computer stuff to actually point that at the person.
And when paired with the right video conferencing software and configured properly in your room, this microphone plus this camera, the camera will automatically steer towards the person talking.
It's true. You can use one of these to get you there. So this is the QSC Core 8 Flex. So this is kind of the brains of the operation, right? It takes all your audio inputs and outputs and sends them where they need to go, hooks them up to your computer. You can also take and control your cameras with this. You can control your displays with this. You can control your shades even with this. It just kind of makes everything a single unified solution.
That's awesome. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take all these different devices and we're going to show you what they look like and what they sound like. So we're going to start with just the laptop as it sits, using the microphone, the speakers. We're going to take a look at that. Then we're going to slowly start adding these peripherals and see how far we get. Anyway, Let's take a look. All right, so here we are. So this is just me on the MacBook Pro using the internal microphone, using the internal webcam, and this works pretty well. You could totally get anything done you needed to get done this way, but it'd be nice if it was a little bit better. One of the downsides of using the internal microphone on a laptop is if I start typing, it's gonna pick up a lot of noise, which is really not great. So what I like to do is I like to pair it with some Bluetooth earbuds, and bringing the microphones up to my head, the earbuds make it easier to hear, but having the microphone close to my mouth makes it sound a lot better for the other participants, and you don't pick up that room noise. So even though like the bandwidth of the microphone is not quite as great as this, just the overall experience is better. Background noises, you're not gonna hear them as much, and you definitely don't get that keyboard noise. So let's try that out. Okay, so here we are. So I am using the Airpods now. And so for me, I'm gonna be able to hear a lot better. Not have as much distraction from other noises. But one of the nice things is I could actually take notes, and that's not going to be as distracting for the remote participants. Next thing I would do from here is add a little bit of light. So at this point, we really haven't added much cost, but we're going to start improving kind of the overall experience pretty well. And so that's a pretty simple upgrade. So this, I've just added one simple light. So it's just this little light right here. It's pretty cost effective. You can adjust the brightness of it. You can also choose if it's a cool light or a warm light. And just adding that can really improve the quality of the video. And so that's a pretty nice solution. And these are pretty cost effective on Amazon. So no, and then with it. So that definitely helps. Next thing we're doing is we're going to pop in a new camera. So here we're using the Hubby IQ camera. You can see this is way wider than the other camera that's built into the laptop. Also right now I'm using the built-in microphone into the Hubby IQ. The other thing you can do with this really wide camera is with the little software installed, you can actually control how zoomed in it is, and you can actually pan it around. So if you want to see what's going on over there, you can actually control all that, which is really nice. That being said, this camera is probably kind of more than you'd want to spend for your house, but this would be really great for a small huddle space. And the other cool thing about this is because the microphone uses similar technology to that expensive Sennheiser we saw earlier, just on a smaller scale, I can actually roll backwards and you can actually still hear me reasonably well even when I'm back here. And at this point, I'm about maybe 8 to 10 feet away from the system. I forgot to show you in the last little clip, but the Hubby IQ also features auto framing. What that means is it tries to keep the people speaking in the video and zoom in on them so you get like pretty nice framing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move over and give it a second, and then the camera will zoom in on me. So I can just go over here, and now I look kind of far away, and it's not instantaneous, but in just a little bit, as I keep talking, it'll slowly zoom in on me. And then, I've got better framing, and that's a pretty nice feature. And then if I scroll over here, but after a little while, the camera will say, oh, I don't see any person, but I've got processing power, and it's got me. So that's a really nice feature, especially for, small meeting spaces.
Got a PTZ camera and a Sennheiser Team Connect setup. And this would be something we would use for like a full conference room sort of thing, right? So this PTZ camera, it can turn left and right, it can zoom in and out. We're gonna zoom out right now. And this Team Connect mic, the Sennheiser Team Connect mic, is very, very cool because it can actually track who is talking as different people talk throughout the room, or even if people are moving around. So I can move over here and you'll still be able to hear me really clearly. And if I even, come back over here and talk over here, you can still hear me very clearly. So this is a very cool setup, and it's very good for conference rooms where you need to be able to see and hear multiple people. Cool.
And one thing to keep in mind is if you're just sitting by yourself using a laptop, that's probably fine. It's when you get these larger spaces with lots of participants in that room that you might need to move to something like this.